Hi, I'm Sam. I'm the co-founder of Kingdom Impact Lab, and in these videos, the next few videos I'm doing, I am exploring the concept of light, the application of light, and basically talking through how we can apply light in our day-to-day lives, in our present moment decisions, in order to ensure that all our decisions are aligned in who we are becoming in Christ, to ensure that everything that we do in the present moment, despite external pressures, aligns with our ultimate goals, our eternal visions, and basically to help us reflect Jesus in the way that we act, behave, make decisions, conduct our day-to-day operations. So before we start, two quick things. You may notice that I'm a little bit casual today. The reason is because the usual t-shirts that I wear are in the wash, and my shirt has not been ironed, and so if nobody's going to be watching the video anyway, I'm quite happy to just wear casual for today's video. Second point is that the purpose of these videos is for me to talk through the different ideas. As I'm talking through the ideas, I'm getting more clarity in my own mind about what light is. The purpose is that these videos will go on long. More likely than not, I'm going to be rambling, going down rabbit holes. It won't necessarily be coherent, but the reason why I do it is, for me, it is practice, because when the time comes for me to communicate these ideas clearly and succinctly to other people, I will be able to explain things in the most direct, succinct and actionable way in the fewest words possible, because I've spent hundreds of hours practicing recording these videos. So that's the introduction. So in this video, we're going to talk about living light daily. So first of all, what is light? Then we'll explain what living light daily is, and then I'll go into the practical applications of how you can incorporate that into your decisions in your personal, business and financial life, starting from right now. So first of all, light is basically it's a operating system that you can incorporate into your daily life, starting now, in the next 5 minutes, in the next 1 minute. And it's a system that allows you to make decisions in the present moment that align with who you are becoming in Christ. This helps you to resist the worldly and fleshly temptations that you may experience. This allows you to resist all of the external pressures that you may encounter in the short term, especially when it comes to operating your business and when you are faced with situations that are outside of your control, and you may be under pressure to make a decision which you will reflect back in hindsight that goes against your core values. It might be a small corruption of integrity, or it might be a big corruption of integrity. And light as a system allows you to look at every decision you make through the lens of the pursuit of Christ-likeness above everything else. So light itself comes from, I did not come up with the light framework. I firmly believe that it was divinely inspired, because it just seems to be so perfect that the acronym is LIGHT, for all of the characteristics that make up Christ's likeness. And another reason I believe it was divinely inspired is because there's a verse in the Bible, I can't quote what it is necessarily, but it literally says light precedes life, and as part of the light framework, the next step after applying light in the framework that I have is life. And life is basically an acronym that stands for your long-term identity. L-I. F is faith, and E is endurance. And very quickly, the concept is that you first have to anchor your long-term identity in who you're becoming in Christ. This becomes your eternal vision. This is what becomes your solid foundation, and then you anchor your business vision and your business goals and your business KPIs in your eternal vision. And then light as the system allows you then to subsequently apply your Christ-like behavior, which is directly aligned with who you're becoming in Christ in your day-to-day decisions. And you need your long-term identity, you need your long-term vision. Most people lack a vision. Most people lack direction. Even bigger businesses lack vision and direction, apart from hitting their sort of monthly, quarterly, annual targets. And you need faith, where a definition of faith would be that you believe in the positive outcomes, that you believe that you're going to get the positive outcomes that you want to have. And then endurance, which is to be able to persevere through the ups and downs. And the term endurance is sort of like a reference to one of my hobbies, which is ultra running and trail running and long distance running, where you absolutely need endurance to continue through. And so that's where it came from. So that's what the second step in light is, life. And there is literally a Bible verse that says light precedes life, which basically is, in many ways, is that if I didn't come up with, if it feels like I didn't personally come up with the light framework, it was downloaded to me, given to me, and I didn't come up with the life framework, but it also kind of was downloaded and given to me. And then the Bible literally says light precedes life, which is the first step is to live light daily, and then the second step is to do the life framework. It's just mind-blowing with how everything fits together so perfectly. And so that's a very long-winded way of explaining things, that I'm a steward of this framework, I'm a steward of this system, and as a big kind of picture, vision of what the hope here is, that it feels like I'm called to help people live life daily so they can reflect Jesus in the way that they behave, both in their personal lives and business, and to apply it in their finances. And by doing so within Christian businesses, we can create a movement based around the pursuit of Christ-likeness, reflecting our Christian values in the way we do our work. Each individual business that does it will start to shine small lights within their sphere of influence. And because of the internet, we are all connected to one another. But unfortunately, because of the internet, we feel less connected than we ever have been. And so the more of these lights that shine up, eventually the light is going to get brighter and brighter, and it's going to contribute to a revival in the business world and marketplace. Because I want to use my experiences in the past as my marketing agency and all of the gifts and everything that I've learned, in order to fight against something that I really dislike. And that is the way that most businesses operate in a transactional setting, where they basically treat each human as a cost per hour, as a commodity, And the root of all of this is that the business operates solely based on profitability, which is you have your company targets, what you want to aim for, your quarterly targets, your annual targets, whatever that may be. And all your decisions stem down from hitting these KPIs. And by its very nature, making X amount of money this year as your guiding principle that influences every single decision downstream, and every single decision upstream as well, because each people at every different hierarchy in the team are trying to make decisions based on hitting their targets, which then contribute to the larger goal of hitting your annual targets. Well, that inherently makes everything transactional. And the downstream consequence of that is you treat other humans like commodities. You take the humanness out of the interactions, whether you're aware of it or not. And I know that from experience, both as the recipient of this and as the person that subconsciously did it to other people. And for me, I experienced it before when once I was writing travel articles. This was before I did copywriting, when my wife and I were traveling. And I was tied to a contract as a freelancer to do 30 articles per day. Each article was 1,000 words. This is when you had to write everything yourself and edit everything yourself. Basically, there was unlimited edits that you had to do. And it was hard. It was hard to do. And all of a sudden, one day, completely unexpected out of the blue, they terminate everyone's contract, all the writers' contracts, because they've hit their internal targets with the number of SEO optimized articles published on the website. They didn't, no consideration for the sacrifices that me and the other writers put in. No consideration for the way that contract was set up was basically forced you to be in a position where you couldn't really take on any other clients, because you had an obligation to hit their pretty tough and pretty challenging targets per month. And then one day we worked for them, and the next day gone. And it was the same for me and a whole bunch of other writers. You look at it with the way that other big businesses operate today, where the similar thing happens, where entire departments just get removed instantly without a second thought. The company has hit their targets, and then they get rid of the humans that contribute towards it. Yes, I understand. I'm not against efficiency and trying to optimize what you do, and I understand that things like this do happen. But if these people, if these companies did not have transactional targets as their North Star, their business goals for revenue, number of articles, number of this, well, that's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter who writes it, what they do, as long as we get the deliverable, the output, the thing that you promised. It just leads to a lack of accountability, a lack of personalization in terms of the interactions, and then it leads to a whole bunch of bad things like what I described happened to me. Also, when I had my marketing agency, I had 3 people working for me on my team, and as time went on, they were hired at an hourly cost before a certain function, and I tried my hardest to develop relationships with them, but they only viewed me as a cost per hour, competing for their time with other clients that they work with. It was sort of impossible to have any kind of meaningful relationship with the people on your team. They did not align with the mission or what I wanted to do with my agency, which my agency did start out with a mission and what we wanted to fight against. But then, because I bought into the vision, but other people the 3 people on my team and people that interacted with me, they only said they align with the vision in order to get the money from me, the cost, their hourly rate, trading their time for my money. And then eventually it just moved and drifted towards, I didn't even buy into the vision itself, and we just focused on entirely transactional goals, where I work with a coach, and I recall being on a coaching call, this was expensive as well, where I just kind of said afterwards that, I said, well, since I can't hit these missions, perhaps the business should be just to make money for me and for clients, so that I can have, quote, more freedom and lifestyle in my life. And then that's when things probably started to change. That was probably a turning point, because my business then went from being mission focused and having a strong why and passion behind it to just making money. And then everything became transactional. And this led to me having situations with people on my team that were not exactly great in the way that I treated them. I didn't have integrity in hindsight. I certainly didn't operate out of biblical love or anything else. I won't go into the details, but because the company targets shifted from the mission to just transactional targets, I found myself looking at how much we should be hitting on our conversion rates, and how much this, and how many people have we outreached to, and how many conversations, and all of this. And I completely trying to focus on building the process, ignoring the person who was behind the process. And I treated them like a commodity as well, completely and utterly unintentional, with some of the things that I said and did and how I behaved. But this was simultaneously while I was trying to inject some kind of humanness into the relationship as well. And quite frankly, it didn't work. Because the North Star, the guiding principle, the vision, everything was all rooted in hitting numbers and targets, which are transactional in nature, which then influenced all my decisions coming downstream. And I can illustrate this point even better, where it's so hard to inject meaning, connection into relationships when the relationship started on a transactional agreement. One client I work with, I worked with them for a long term, over 12 months. They gave me a glowing testimonial. More than one person on the team gave me a glowing testimonial. I used to like to brag that I made this client millions. Well, millions plural, actually meaning that I made them more than a million, but millions, probably not. I made them anyway. And then one day they unexpectedly terminated my contract because of the reason was because their sales team were not performing at the same level they were supposed to, which could have been for a variety of reasons, but the main reason it was given was that, well, there's typically a 2-month wait from the first calls of someone making a sale. That's the typical sales cycle that they have, with the follow-up and the different things that the sales team does. And because it was Christmas and the Christmas holidays coming up, the sales team dropped the ball a little bit. They weren't at 100%, and the people on the calls weren't that motivated with the holidays coming up and all these things. And so, as a byproduct of that, it basically led to me losing my contract with the client for no reason at all of my own, completely ignoring all of the things that I did for them in the past. That's one example. Nothing wrong with the client at all. He was great to work with, really nice person, really nice team in general. But that's one thing that happens when the entire relationship is based on a transaction. And they said that the reason they terminated me is because I'm a contractor, and if they want to, they can hire me back in the future, and it's harder to get rid of permanent staff. Because if they get rid of the permanent staff, they're going to find another job and they lose permanent talent, which, fair enough. But you wouldn't necessarily say that it was fair, because it was through no fault of my own. It was as a result of the sales team. But because my only function in the eyes of this company was to go there and generate a number of book calls for them, and then the number of book calls that I generate would then be passed over to the sales team, who typically convert a predictable percentage. They have their own targets of how many people that book a call turn into sales, and then they go on to service these the clients in the group, in the group coaching that they had, and then they want to reduce refund rates and all of these things as well. But the point is that I was just a single part of a process. My function was to operate this part of the process, and when the second part of the process wasn't working as efficiently for whatever reason, you have to get rid of what was at the first part of the process. Again, I don't blame the company for doing it, but that's kind of what happened. And I also recall once when I think it was over Easter with this particular client, and I said to him that I'm going to go off for a holiday with my family. I just want to make sure it's okay with you. I don't want to be checking Slack messages and emails and things and various things while I'm there. Just, is it okay? And the answer was that it doesn't really matter to me, you don't have to ask permission. We pay you just for results. And I thought at the time, oh, actually that's great, I like that idea. But in hindsight, well, perhaps there's two ways to look at it, because it means that all I had to do in that particular case to justify my fee would have been to simply provide the email assets, provide the strategy, and make sure it gets implemented in the fastest way possible. And just basically to overlook and manage that part of my contribution. It means that all of the extra things that I did in terms of giving ideas on how they can improve this or do that, or improve the quality of the offer, or all of the times when I had a last minute call with the owner of a business because I had an idea that they could generate more revenue or add continuity into the business or do whatever it is. It means that all of that was superfluous and kind of a waste of my time, because they didn't actually value all of these extra contributions that I gave, or because everything started on that transactional arrangement. Another example, which is one that I use a lot, is I had a client and we made an agreement that I'm going to introduce this system into his business, basically an email system, and he was one of these people that just likes to be busy, being busy kind of things, and he kind of achieved some level of success where his business is functional, but he just becomes addicted to the busyness, and we all know people like that. And essentially what should have been it was a 3 month, like a 90-day sort of email nurture system, with most of it was pre-written and predetermined, and could have been automated, with a few minor things in there as well to add the personalization and to just optimize and monitor things. And so basically I said, well, this is the cost of this service, this is what we'll do, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3. I'm fairly sure that you'll generate a pretty big return on your investment as a result of operating this system with me and working with me. I'll help you manage the system, I'll help you troubleshoot the system, I'll give you support for a while after you've implemented the system, so you can then automate what we've done for every new person that comes to your business. Typical kind of things. And all great, we agreed. And next thing you know, he's off to Mexico, from Australia to Mexico, which again, okay, you've just had a new baby, your wife's from Mexico, you want in-laws to meet the baby, fair enough. Okay. He communicated with Mexico, and then he's talking to someone here that's building an app, and then talking to him another time, and he's talking about building something else, and then he's back from Mexico, and he's jet lagged and all of this, and he wants to start work immediately, but he's saying I haven't slept in 30 hours and my brain's not working. Okay, get some rest, get over your jet lag, get your brain working, let's regroup. And so all of these times, several days to weeks passed from initial communication to then having to have another call to review and recap everything that we've got up to this point. And these calls went 30 minutes, some of them lasted an hour and a half to 2 hours. Basically going through this, going through that, going through the other. And all of this is taking my time, which is in addition to what the offer is that I gave him, the deliverables what I gave him, which, okay, I'm providing the support, I don't mind. When we send a few emails out, he gets bad responses and gets discouraged and demotivated and a whole bunch of other things. And so I'm there to act as like a mentor, to support him, to give him fresh perspectives. And all of this is taking up my time, which I could have been spending doing other things. I could have been spending that same time that I'm giving him all of this extra stuff with my kid at the time. This was just before we had our second child. But I didn't. I gave my time to him. And then it reached a point where 3 months had passed. I was still obligated to give him I was still obligated to give him the 90-day sequence, which was not implemented at all. Nothing of it had been implemented. And then to provide support afterwards. And so I'm kind of thinking to myself that this project should have been wrapped up by now, yet I've still got to give him 3 months plus for support afterwards because he hasn't implemented it. And I thought, I don't want to continue this when we're going to have a baby and the second baby comes. And so I told him that, look, you've moved direction, this is what's happening, and tried to talk about it in the right way. And so after having a conversation, because it changed direction so many times, he was not going to get the same value and the results that I promised from giving him this email sequence. This same email sequence over 90 days, which I've got 80 to 90% of it done, and I could finish in an hour or two. And so, what what's the solution to it? Because I'm not going to give you these emails if it's not going to give you the result. There's no point. Not only is it a waste of my time, but it's a waste of everything. And so I tried to negotiate. Well, since I've been giving you all this support and all this time over the last 3 months and you haven't done anything, let's come to some agreement where you pay X amount of the fee that's outstanding, whatever you feel is best, and then we'll call it a day and then we can move on. And his response was, well, I don't understand why you're asking for the fee because you haven't given me what you've promised. And so that's where a dispute started. It wasn't a dispute because I explained to him that, well, I haven't delivered you these emails and I haven't delivered you this sequence and we haven't done it because you keep changing direction. You're no longer going to get the results that we promised, but I have been giving you calls, multiple calls over the last 3 months. I have been working on your project and helping you and supporting you and all these extra things that I didn't have to do over the 3 months. It's not because of me, it's because of you. And then the response was, yeah, all of those things are nice, but I didn't ask for them. I asked for a specific deliverable and you haven't given it me. Either you give me the deliverable and I'll pay you the full amount if it's outstanding, or if you don't give me the deliverable, I'm not going to pay you the outstanding amount. So in that case, I said, well, okay, fair enough. I'll walk away from this, cut my losses, and leave in a way where I have integrity of not kind of ripping them off or scamming them. But that entire situation there was me trying to inject additional things into this relationship with the client. But he did not value any of it. he just viewed all of these extra things as, that's nice, well that was good. In the present, at the present moment, when I was giving him all of his time and attention, it was great and he absolutely loved it. And he got so much value from it, especially when he wanted to give it all in and was facing despair and all these things because things weren't working and bad responses from people, etc., etc. And so at the present moment, it had a massive impact on his mindset and everything. It helped him completely change his perspective on a few things. But when it comes to the end of things, he reflects back and does not remember the present that he experienced in the past when I helped him. Rather, he looks at it, but you're supposed to give me 90 days worth of emails, so you're supposed to give me 25 assets or whatever it is and this and that. You haven't given me. To him, he's measuring my performance and what I've done against this deliverable that I've promised to give him for a fixed fee. Everything else, completely forgotten. Does not even regard it afterwards in comparison to the result that the deliverables that he was supposed to get from me, or the result that he was supposed to get from it. And so, from his mind, he just could not understand why I'm asking for 50% of the fee when I haven't given him what I promised to give him. He was not a bad person. I enjoyed working with him. I enjoyed talking to him as a person, which is why I tried to help him with all of these extra things. But the reality is that this entire contract with this client started off on transactional terms. What result can you give me? What ROI can you give me? What deliverables can you give me? And therefore, because everything started on that premise, later as the relationship went on, all of the extra things that I gave him, which I believe was adding value to the relationship, was valued at the time. But when push comes to shove and the evaluations come into check, it just doesn't, it just gets completely disregarded because it's not aligned with what the transaction was or what the specific outcome that was agreed upon. And that's why I found that I had so much problems and so many challenges trying to inject additional things into the relationship because it was started off on a transaction. Now, I accept full responsibility for what I did. There's nothing wrong with these clients, and I did similar things to other people as well, without even realising it. And that's the key part of this. It's without even realising it. As Carl Jung said, someone that was contributed heavily to the development of psychology, that whatever you put as your highest order aim, whatever you aim at the most, whatever you're trying to reach as your target the most, becomes your God, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. Which basically means that whatever your North Star guiding principle is, whatever you make your decisions based upon moving closer towards, becomes your God, whether you're aware of it or not. And you start to idolize it because everything, your values become secondary towards hitting that goal. And that's just the way human nature is. Because we're typically goal-oriented beings, especially people that are in business. We get the most joy in the journey towards a goal. We like making progress. We like to experience the incremental progress towards a goal. When we achieve a goal and we don't have anything afterwards, that's when problems start. It's the concept of what Jordan Peterson talks about with Jacob's Ladder, where the secret, Jordan Peterson said, basically I'm summarising and paraphrasing, is that the secret of happiness, joy and success in life is to have an ever-expanding series of goals, so that whenever you achieve one goal, you immediately have the next goal that's much bigger for you to immediately start working towards, and then you achieve that goal, and then a bigger goal, a bigger goal, and bigger goal, until your goal's so big that you'll never be able to achieve it, and you're working towards it until you take your last breath. Obviously, this doesn't apply to everybody, it's for people with a growth mindset, but that's just the way that we are, and that's just the way that humans are programmed. So whatever it is that's your goal, whether it's a short-term goal or a long-term goal or any other goal within within the hierarchy that you're moving towards. Whatever the focus is will become your God, whether you're aware of it or not, because it will determine and dictate and influence the way that you make decisions. When it is transactional, it influences your moment-to-moment, your present moment decisions, which over long periods of time can, and almost certainly will, corrupt your integrity, because you're going to be making decisions that go against your own values without even being aware of it. That's why light is such a powerful system. It's because light allows you to, first of all, elevate light and put it above what your business vision is. Simple. It's Matthew 6:33. First seek his righteousness in the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you as well. Okay. Don't quote me on that. I'm trying to memorize it. If it's wrong, I apologize. The point being is that if you focus on the kingdom of God first and storing up your treasures in heaven, doing things for having a powerful why behind what you're doing, you're going to find that you can hit all your targets as well as a byproduct. It's a concept called hyperintentionality, which I think it was coined by Viktor Frankl in his area of psychiatry, I think, or psychology, I can't remember, called logotherapy. Well, this is when I first heard it, hyperintentionality. So just for context, Viktor Frankl was a Jewish psychiatrist, I think, and he was captured into the concentration camps in World War II, and he basically wrote down and documented his experience on how people got through the horrendous conditions that they were living in, and he concluded that it's people who had a why and a reason to live and have hope. Those are the people that survived. And the moment that someone lost hope and gave up and lost what their why is, they lost perspective on what their why is to get through the suffering. That was the turning point, and then they quickly fell off a cliff and they were gone. Just died pretty much immediately afterwards. And then he used his experience to build his foundation of logotherapy. And that's what I first heard of hyperintentionality by studying the book Man's Search for Meaning. And hyperintentionality is that when you focus on something so much, because you're hyper-focused on it, you're less likely to actually achieve it, because you're going to miss all the other things that go around it. It's like the proverbial, you can't see the forest through the trees because you're so focused on what's in front of you. And the perfect example that I can give to illustrate this point is you need to sleep because you have an early start at an important meeting, an important presentation, something that's important, and your performance in it tomorrow matters. You're a little bit anxious about it, you're a little bit nervous about it. Hey, it's human. And so you go to bed, and can you sleep? No. Of course you can't sleep, because you have to wake up in the morning. You're focused on, you need a good quality sleep so you can perform at your best in the morning, but yet you'll probably find that you don't sleep. And the more you're trying to force yourself to sleep, the more wide awake you become, and the less likely you are to sleep. And so the paradox is, by you trying to tell yourself that you want to have the best sleep possible tonight so you can perform at your best in the morning, you're less likely to get the sleep that you want, and you'll perform less as a result the following day. That's hyperintentionality, and that's happened to me so many times, where a relatively recent example was I was featured on a podcast. First time I've been on a podcast, so it's naturally you've got the stress there and the concern there. And so I tried my hardest to sleep well on the night. I planned everything the day, didn't have coffee the day before, so no caffeine, all of these things. Couldn't sleep, worst quality sleep I'd had in a long time, and I was so groggy, couldn't think right. All of these bad things happened the following day. I did not perform on the podcast. That's hyperintentionality. So therefore, if you are focusing on hitting your business goals as your highest order aim as well, and you're hyper-focused on them, you're going to miss so many opportunities, and you're probably less likely to achieve it because you're so focused on it. Instead, it's better to focus on something that goes beyond what your business targets and the revenue targets are, and then as a byproduct, you will achieve your result as well, which is what Matthew 6:33 is about. First seek his kingdom and righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. It's like when King Solomon prayed to God in, is it First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, where he said that he wanted wisdom in order to govern the people of Israel because there's so many of them, and he wanted to honour God and make sure that his King David, his father, was his vision was enacted. And God replied to him that because you ask for wisdom instead of riches and fame and all of these other worldly things, I'm going to grant you the wisdom that you ask for, but you're also going to get all these things as well. And it's the same kind of concept. You focus on something that goes beyond what your transactional business goals are, which is something above it. And the thing that's above it is your eternal vision, rooted in the identity of who you're becoming in Christ, which is what the life framework, which is secondary after light, is all about. Your long-term identity in Christ, faith and endurance towards it. And the reason why you need that is because having an eternal vision, one, puts things into perspective, that your time on earth is just fleeting relative to eternity. What, we might have 100 years at best. You can't really achieve that much in 100 years, realistically. So wouldn't it be better to focus on building something that outlasts you? Wouldn't you want to build your business and build something through your business so you can have lasting impact that goes beyond what you can achieve in your own lifetime? And then other people would carry the torch and carry the mission and vision forward. Would that not be something that motivates you more and gets you more excited? For me personally, it does, to build something that outlasts me. Whatever that may look like, I don't know yet. Having an eternal vision that is rooted in Christ is something that is, this is the most important thing. This is building your rock on the solid foundation. Building your house on the solid foundation. Because Christ is timeless, universal, and it's infinite and perfect. In other words, it's the same as it was in the past, the present, and the future. Which means you can anchor where you're currently at, influenced by the world around you and the culture and the transactional environment, to something that is unchanging and unmoving. And whenever you start to notice that you're drifting or things are misaligned, you can stop and recalibrate and move back towards where you originally want to go to pursue your identity in Christ. Because that's what matters the most, is the person that you're becoming. And by doing that, you'll find that you become the person that can hit the goals in your business, achieve whatever it is that you want as a byproduct. You don't idolize them. And then you allow your day-to-day decisions to be rooted in the pursuit of Christ-likeness, where it said in Romans 12, I think, that all of the commandments come from the commandment of love your neighbour as yourself. And therefore, you have that biblical love is basically the 80-20 of what the Bible teaches us and how to behave, is to operate on biblical love, which would be sacrificial love, where you would prioritize the other person's needs instead of your own needs, and you can do that with confidence that you're doing the right thing because you are anchored in an absolute, timeless, eternal truth in God and in your vision in Christ, rather than the worldly desires and worldly love, for example, which is dictated and influenced by emotions and emotions and fleeting, and we absolutely can't trust our emotions. So that's why we would root in biblical love, and that's why we would have confidence that we're doing the right thing. And we can look through the lens of the pursuit of Christ-likeness, where, so how do we make decisions out of love? How do we make decisions out of biblical love? And how do we do it when things are hard and things are tough and we're not actually getting, we're under pressure? Well, that's where the L.I.G.H.T system comes in. So the L.I.G.H.T system basically is how you can pursue this Christ-likeness in your eternal vision, which supersedes your business vision. I'm not saying that you need to get rid of your business vision and your business goals and to stop doing that. I'm saying that you need to have something beyond your business vision and your business mission to root in, so you can stay anchored and aligned and moving towards what your ultimate goal in life is for. And then you have the perspective of stewarding your influence and doing things for the benefit of others rather than for your own short-term gains. And so L.I.G.H.T itself stands for love, integrity, gratitude and generosity, humble service and transformative excellence. And so what does it look like to make decisions based on love? What does it mean to make decisions based on integrity? What does it mean to make decisions on gratitude and generosity? What does it mean to make decisions on humble service? What does it mean to make decisions on transformative excellence? Well, essentially, if the 80-20 of the pursuit of Christ-likeness is biblical love, sacrificial love, if we can learn and understand how to apply love in action in our day-to-day decisions in our life and business, then all of the other ones will fall into place. Because if sacrificial love is placing the other person's needs ahead of your own and to serve other people to the best of your ability to help them rather than doing things for self-gain, that essentially is humble service. It's also a transformative excellence, which would be that you try your hardest to give the best that you possibly can in every single situation, so you can give the biggest results possible for people in the least amount of time. That's what transformative excellence is. And then people are very happy to pay the fees in your business to become your clients or to buy your products and services because you are the best. You have a reputation for being the best. This is storing up your treasures in heaven. Jordan Peterson says that store up your treasures in heaven corresponds to what your reputation is. Which is one interpretation which I agree with. And having transformative excellence and humble service, where you try to help the person that you're working with or buyer of your product or service to get the best result that they possibly can. And you empower them and lift them up, and you support them as they go through their transformation journey associated with your business. Well, the more people that you do, that you help successfully get results, the bigger your reputation is going to be, and the more testimonials, reviews and case studies that you get. And the more testimonials, case studies, reviews that you get that are positive, the more people that are going to come to you in the future, because it builds your reputation, it builds your trust, and people buy from those they know, like and trust, which is especially important for service-based businesses which rely mostly on trust. So just by applying L.I.G.H.T in your business as a big picture concept, you're going to get more testimonials, you're going to get more success stories, you're going to get more glowing reviews, you're going to get more people experiencing transformations, and that in turn is going to attract more people to your business. And also you can then quite easily get the people that have experienced these transformations, because you're applying humble service and transformative excellence, to then introduce referral systems where they can introduce other people to you and your brand. And the benefits of referrals is that typically they cost you nothing. You don't have to pay acquisition costs. And also a referral is a much higher quality prospect to your business in terms of aligned with business outcomes, because someone that they know has already vouched for you. They've already given you the proof, and they're much more likely to become a client. And in fact, typically a referred client is an easier client to work with because of the relationship that's established up front. You know, in the same way that I've described before, that the transactional way of doing things is that initial relationship was established on transactional terms, which then led to everything being measured against the initial transaction, and then all of the other things in between forgotten if it doesn't align with what the transactional output is. It's the same way with a referred client, that they come in and the relationship is established on good terms, trust, expectation that they're going to get results, an expectation that they're going to get results. Basically, they have faith that they're going to get the outcome that you promised. They're much more likely to work hard and get the results, and it's much easier to do. And all of this is going to happen as a result of humble service and transformative excellence. Well, what about gratitude and generosity? Well, actually, I'm not sure whether to include it as gratitude or generosity. I'll figure that one out later. Initially, I have it G as gratitude, and because generosity can be tied to love, but both are equal parts here, because well, gratitude is you are grateful for the things that you have and not the things that you don't have. And then you can reflect back on all of the things in your life that are good, which gives you a much greater appreciation for the things that you have, instead of focusing on the next client, the next sale, the next this, the next that. And here's a little thing to do when it comes to gratitude. It's a skill. For one, it's a skill. It's something that you can build into your lives as a habit. Years and years and years back, I absolutely didn't have gratitude for things. I had the opposite view, which stemmed from my atheist life perspectives, my atheistic worldview. And over several years, I have adopted an attitude of gratitude, and I can now look at pretty much every situation, and you instantly reframe it as a positive, without even thinking about it. Even bad things, because I developed a concept where the magnitude of the suffering that you go through in the present moment is proportionate to the value you can provide and support you can provide to someone in the future that's experiencing the same problem that you are now. And so if you look at things through that perspective, no matter how hard things are in the present moment, you know that it can be a learning experience, and if you get through, you can have a major life-changing impact on someone else as a result of your experience of what you've gone through and getting through to the other side. That's an attitude of gratitude, and that allows you to reframe every situation. Another way to apply this in your business is something that I've done myself. It's something that I've done in a small group setting as well, and results for myself are outstanding. Results in a small group setting are outstanding. Results when I've asked other people to do this have been outstanding for them, and it's so simple. It's so simple that I'm actually going to be doing this later today, and that is that it's you message people that are within your contact list, and you just express sincere, specific appreciation for the things that they've done to you. And that's it. It's so simple, but it's yet so overlooked. Appreciation is something that we all have in abundance. We have an unlimited amount of appreciation. It's infinite. But yet it's something that we give out in such scarcity that we often neglect it. Which is a shame, because one of the ways that you can be a blessing to someone else is to show them genuine and specific appreciation. For example, what I like to do with sermons at my church, not every sermon, but what I started to do what I did for a while, and I'll explain why I stopped doing it as much, is whenever a pastor gives a sermon, I take detailed notes anyway, and then I sit and reflect on the notes that I made, and then find how to apply it to my life, and then I try to apply it in my life. And then I would email or contact the pastor that gave the sermon through the church, and then I would tell them that, hey, I learned this specific thing from your sermon. Here's how I applied it in my life. Here's the results I got. Thank you so much for this. It's so valuable. And for the recipient of that, all of a sudden, they feel that they've been there preaching and teaching, and nobody has actually responded to them, or they're not sure if people are listening or what's happening. And so just one person giving them that encouragement and appreciation, providing it's true, which it always is, it absolutely makes their day better as a result of it, because so many of us are underappreciated. It's like for me that on the very few occasions that people have given me specific and sincere appreciation, I remember it. And that's how to be memorable. And the vast majority of people, they don't do this, and they take things for granted. And by you showing appreciation to someone, which is gratitude, you are showing the other person that they are important in their life, and that strengthens the relationship between you, which in turn builds more connection and more unity. And so the reason why I stopped doing this as much, I still do it, but not as much, is because I think the pastors have come to expect me to email them and to contact them, and I don't get replies from them all the time, which is okay. And so because I've already built a relationship with these pastors now over a period of time, whenever I see them, I can go and speak to them and ask them things, and then say thank you for the different things that I've done. Instead of writing an email, they know that I appreciate it. They know I'm paying attention. And so how can you apply this attitude of gratitude? Well, this is what I'm going to do today. So my second son turns 1 in a few days, and just been reflecting on just how grateful I am to have my second son in my life, and both my kids and the life I've got. And it made me think about all of the other people that have contributed to my life, and various positive things that have come from it, especially the contacts that I've had on LinkedIn and spoke to on calls. I'm just gonna select a handful of them that have had the biggest impact on me, and I'm just gonna send them an email or message and just say thank you for this specific thing that you've impacted my life in this particular way. As a result of you generously giving me your time to talk to me, this is what I've learned from it, and this is how I'm applying it, and this is the outcome that I'm going to get. Now, I'm doing this with the expectation of nothing in return. I'm doing this just because, so to speak. It's not part of any grand strategy. It's just showing genuine appreciation. And typically what will happen is, out of all of the people that you express gratitude towards, a few people, the 80-20 rule applies, kind of thing, but 80% of people are going to just come back with some kind of generic response, or that's good, or that's nice, or whatever it is, which is fair enough. It has made their day better by them reading it. But then a percentage of people are going to come back and they're going to be touched by what you've done, and then they're going to do things for you, which is going to lead to opening doors in various unexpected ways that you may not even be aware of. And that's a result of just texting people or emailing people or sending people a message on WhatsApp, whatever it is, just to show appreciation. All of these great, wonderful things can come as a result of doing it. And a specific way that happened before was on New Year. I think it was New Year's Eve, when I was sat outside reflecting on the year and what things have done. I just thought of all the things that have had an impact, all the people that have had an impact on my life, all the people that I'm grateful for. And I just came about 30. And so I just text them, Happy New Year, here's why you have been so great in my life, blah, blah, blah. thank you. Now, of those people, some responded back warmly, others responded back kind of generically, some appreciated it more than others, but the people that appreciated it more than others really were touched by it, and it actually led to someone referring someone else to me, who then has become a coach over the last several months at no cost. I've not paid this person to coach me. In the past, I'd be spending thousands for someone to coach me. And all of this came simply by asking for a referral. And then this coaching that I've had has been game-changing and transformational in the way that things have operated. This is what happens as a result of you expressing sincere gratitude without the expectation of things in return. That's the benefit of it. How can you apply gratitude in your business life? Well, two ways. First way would be internally with people on your team. Tell people on your team that you're grateful for them for a specific thing. And then you will find that they feel appreciated, and then they will work harder in the future. I'm not saying you should express gratitude to people within your team to manipulate them and to influence them to work harder in the future. That's not what I'm saying. But that's a byproduct of what you will do. If you want to increase performance in your team and you want to get people to work harder, have an attitude of gratitude, and then people want to work harder. They want to perform better. They want to do their best for you because they know that what they do is appreciated. But it has to be specific and personal and genuine. Another way that you can do it is in the same way that I'm going to apply it in my own life and business later, by messaging people that have had an impact on me. But let's say you're in a business where you've got an email list of 50,000 people. Whoa, how do you do that? Well, it's quite simple. You just apply the 80-20 rule. So you look at things through the perspective of like a hierarchy of interactions within your business. You have 50,000 people on your email list. Well, let's say on average 10,000 people would open your emails and read your emails. Of those 10,000 people, perhaps a couple of them are actually fans of what you do. Maybe 20% of them fans of what you do. So maybe 2,000 people there are fans of what you do. And then of the people that are fans of what you do, maybe a couple of hundred of them are big fans of what you do and really happy for what you've done. And then of those, maybe a couple of them are your biggest clients and the people that refer the most people and give you the most money. Well, at every hierarchy you go, the value, the contribution that they have to your business is bigger and bigger and bigger. The people at the top, if you have 50,000 people on your email list, maybe there's only 4 or 5 people, your clients in your business, whoever it is, partners, whatever it is, that contribute towards the most revenue that you make in your business. Your job then is to identify who these 5 people are out of 50,000 and then give them 80% of your attention. Tell these people that you're grateful, what you're grateful for. You don't have to do it en masse to everybody. You have to identify which group of people within your business contribute the most to what you do through whatever it is that you are. They don't have to be paying clients or referrals. It's just what small group of people within your business do you perceive to be the biggest value? They could be coaches, they could be service, whatever. Find them, just message them. Thank you for this specific thing that you do. I really appreciate it. This is what I couldn't do it without you because X, Y, Z. Simple, easy, but it will make you stand out. It will make you attractive towards them. You'll become magnetic. People will want to perform better for you and help you get results because they feel appreciated. That's gratitude. The next is generosity. And generosity is, there's a concept that you may have heard of, which is life gives to the giver, and people that are givers in life and do things because they want to give and help other people, and the ones that tend to be more successful. you know, generously give people your time. This whole concept of generosity is stewardship of what you have. You have been entrusted with relationships, influence, a whole bunch of things within your business, and you can be generous with what you do. You don't necessarily have to be generous with just your money. You can think outside the box. Be generous in your time, invest in people, invest your time in people, give people your time, energy, and attention. And if you're the owner of a business and you are communicating with someone that is at one of the lower levels, they will appreciate you giving the one-on-one time with them. Remember the name, remember birthdays, remember important moments in people who work in your team's life, and then you can surprise them with unexpected generosity on their birthdays or whatever it is. Integrity. One definition of integrity that I would like to use is that your actions in the present moment align with the words that you say, and the words that you say would be rooted in who you are becoming as a Christian and what you want to, the person that you want to become in the future, and you're making sure that your present moment's actions align with what it is. It's consistency between who you are here and who you say you are out here, and that's what the L.I.G.H.T framework itself allows you to do this, because you will be making your decisions based on the pursuit of Christ-likeness above hitting your business targets. It supersedes it, and then you will find that maybe it will be short-term loss or short-term sacrifice, but you'll find that as a result of the pursuit of Christ-likeness, that you're going to achieve your goals, business goals, as a byproduct, and love is what encapsulates it all. And so that's the practical application of L.I.G.H.T. And so living L.I.G.H.T daily is a 14-day challenge that we are currently testing. We are about to start our first pilot, our first group, which is exciting. And what it is it's over 14 days, so that's Monday to Friday, over 2 weeks. Each day has one specific action, one specific task to do, which should take less than 5 minutes, which would align with either love, integrity, gratitude or generosity, humble service or transformative excellence. And we'll do that over 2 weeks, so you'll have 2 out of love, 2 out of integrity, etc. And the purpose here is for me to help the participants of the Live L.I.G.H.T Daily Challenge, and Live L.I.G.H.T Daily as a concept. Right? The challenge precedes what the concept is, because the challenge is 14 days because it takes approximately 14 days to form a habit. And what we want with Live L.I.G.H.T Daily is to form a habit where you're subconsciously making decisions that align with Christ-likeness rather than reacting to what's around you. And so each day would be designed by me to give you the maximum benefit with the least amount of time and effort on your behalf. And so it would be, for example, if it's gratitude, because that's an easy one, it'd be identify one person in your business or anyone that you associate with, send them a message of gratitude for something they've done. Here's a template on what you can use. If you want to, use this template as a way to come up with ideas. Be specific and sincere. Do it to at least one person. Ideally, do it to more people. And then that's it. That's all you have to do. So for me, I could literally pick up my phone now and send someone a message of gratitude in 2 minutes. And that's it. And then they report into our group what they did, how it made them feel, any benefits or outcome that they had. Now, the reality is that you are living L.I.G.H.T and doing these daily actions not without the expectation of anything in return, because by doing so corrupts the whole concept. You're doing so in order to glorify God, in order to reflect Jesus in the way that you behave. That's what L.I.G.H.T is all about. If you start to do it because you're looking at trying to get other things as a byproduct of it, and you're then focusing on what you want as a byproduct as above what light is for, and that corrupts the whole system going down. It has to be the other way. You have to apply light where you do it without the expectation of anything in return, and then other things happen as a byproduct. But over 10 days, you will very likely see the compounding effect of doing this daily. And out of 10 light-aligned actions over 2 weeks, maybe you will get 1 or 2 positive results. But either way, it's going to compound day to day, and you should see a measurable improvement in the outcomes in your life, business, some tangible way that you have gained benefit from this, from applying this framework. And even if you don't, the way that we've designed it is that we'll give you a way to, like a self-assessment at the start of the 2-week challenge, which will be a couple of statements where you have to rate between 1 and 10, how it aligns with what you feel. And then at the end, we'll give you the same questions, and you will rate again how it makes you feel in alignment of 1 to 10. And even if there's no tangible outcomes in terms of business results, whatever it is, because you can't guarantee things if you're doing things just to plant seeds or just to pursue light and pursue Christ-likeness and to integrate your values. You can't attach it to a tangible result. At the very least, you almost certainly will find that you've had a transformation in your own experience and the way that you do things, and you can objectively see this based on how you rate before and after. And then if you have a positive experience here and positive results, you can then go on to incorporate these daily habits into what you do all the time until they eventually become automatic and you're reflecting Christ automatically rather than just reacting. And you need to have an aim and a goal to pursue Christ-likeness, because if you don't, you will react to what's happening around you. And that is the concept of live life daily, and why you need it, how it all works, and essentially that's it. And the more people that live life daily, starting with small decisions that compound over time, you're stewarding your influence in a way that aligns with kingdom impact, and more people will naturally be drawn to you because you do things differently. You will get better business outcomes as a result of this, because you have deeper connection, stronger relationships, more meaningful interactions with people, and you're intentional about what you do. Again, without the expectation of immediate transactional kind of results, you're planting seeds. And the more people and businesses that do this, the more people that I'm going to see that, hey, things are going really good with that guy, what's different? What's different? And then they can ask you, and you can tell them why, and you can then help them to introduce light in their own lives as well. And slowly, more and more lights are going to start to shine within the business world and the marketplace. And over time, bigger and bigger lights are going to shine. People are going to actually see light on what the business world is about, which predominantly it's about making money and greed and power and all of these things, predominantly, not always, but predominantly. And we can start a revival in the workforce and marketplace as a result of us shining our small lights within our sphere of influence and positively impacting as many people as possible via the multiplication effect, via the ripple effect, to multiply our impact. And that is essentially it. So that's all. See you next time.